How's it going? And welcome to today's episode of the MP Garage. Today we're talking to Chuck Todd about everything technology, from AI to 3D printing. Chuck's going to tell us how he's using technology to make his Hyundai store and staff better. Chuck, why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and we'll get started.
Sounds good. Thanks, Mitch. Again, I appreciate you picking me for our first, of course, podcast. I'm flattered. Just a little bit about myself. I'm a service and parts director, Phil Long Hyundai Motor City in Colorado Springs. Phil Long is a large dealer group out here in the Springs, over 75 years in business. I've been with the company for 31 years next month. Started off in the pits, wrenching, and worked my way up from there. Nothing on the fixed op side of things that I haven't done. I have never had the title of detailer, but that doesn't mean I haven't washed a car or two in 30 years, right?
It's interesting, Chuck, and I hope to get Steve on soon. Steve Lacey, fix ops director, and I'll save all of his intros for later. But what's real interesting about Phil Long, and what I think is one of the strengths of the place, is like Steve's story. Steve's story actually began car washing. So you have not had the only title that he started a little back farther in the dealership. So I'll save all that for when Steve comes on. But it is a pleasure to work with you guys because so many of you do have so many years of decades of experience, and it's always fun. So when I visited with you last week, kind of setting this up, I had a question, and I think it's a really good question for our listeners, and technology will certainly be in the title of what we're doing with this episode. But my thoughts for you, knowing that you were a tech kind of guy, and we may even bring out your trinket that you gave me a couple of weeks ago to show everybody.
Right.
My thought with you with technology was this, and I'm certainly no tech guy. I'm not. And this will probably show everyone during this episode how little I do know about technology. But my question to you is this: with AI impacting so many facets of our lives, and technology ramping up all over what we do in the dealership, and again when we come home, from the way we get to work, how are you using new cutting edge technology to make your job easier and to get more out of you and your team?
Gotcha. Uh, AI, of course, has been a major tag word recently. We've all, heard about it, and some of us have delved in deeper, of course, than others. My personal experience with AI started with 3D printing. That was when I started actually using an AI to do things at home. And so, asking the questions as far as, bed temps, filament temps, different types of filaments for the type of project that I'm working on, and using it that way. I've gone through multiple projects with my AI at home, and we're always coming up with different things as far as and the AI is, of course, suggesting things that I hadn't thought of in the beginning for my projects. But
Give me an example of that. When I use AI, and again, we discussed this kind of last week, it always makes me frustrated. I ask it a question. I even think that I set it up where, man, I'm really trying to help AI give me an answer. Give me an example again, maybe of just, how to ask a question where I get a better answer. What's an example of it helping you ask a different question or lead you to something different that you didn't even think of the concept?
Gotcha. So one of the things, which was also for work, been looking at different ways to work on as far as tool checkout. Special tools are a very expensive part of every dealership, and there's been lots of different ways that dealerships have done it, putting the special tools in parts. But it's very important for your technicians to be able to have the special tools that they need when they need them. And if the tool's not in there, then there needs to be a way to find out where the tool is. So we just came out of construction in January, so our tool room is much nicer than our old one, and we're working on, before the end of the year, getting all the tools in their proper places, completely cataloged. And so my original idea was just, hey, I'm going to print out cards for each technician. We'll give them like 5, like we did when I was at Universal Technical Institute getting my automotive degree, they use tool tags. So I thought, hey, same way, we'll print the cards out. They'll put the card in when they take the tool. So if someone else comes in, they'll know who has the tool and they can go. And then when you bring the tool back, they can take their card back and,
Yeah, a
simple.
check-in process. I like
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Simple. So the first question to my AI that I've been working with was, what is the size of a credit card in millimeters? So AI came back and told me what the size of a credit card was, and it's a particular standard. And while I was working on my AI project, as far as developing the card, it had asked if I wanted to know about that particular standard and where it came from. So I had something to listen to while I'm designing. And then the AI had asked if we were working on a new print project. So I said yes. And and then I embellished on what I was doing. And of course, AI came back and said, "Hey, that's a great idea, a simple solution for a checkout system." And then it had asked if I had thought about adding any technology into the process. And when
Interesting.
yeah, and so it had suggested possibly using NFC chips with readers to be able to do that. And to make the quote long story short, as we're going through asking questions back and forth, and I'm adding things in, AI is also making suggestions as to how to improve the process. We got to being able to put it into a Google sheet that automatically updates every time the technician's card is scanned and the tool chip is scanned, going back and forth to even to the point of having automatic sheets pull up for if I'm sending a tool out for maintenance. So a sheet will pop up so it can be filled out for the address and whatever I do have to have to send it to Movis or GDS in order to,
Okay.
and or tool loaning program. So if a dealership or another dealership nearby or one of our other sister dealerships needs to borrow the tool, it automatically brings up a tool rental form. So I know where the tool's at, when did it go out, when is it due back, and
And
uh,
when they log in, do they see if a tool is checked out?
yes, if they go in again, it's still in the process stages, but so each tool will have its own NFC chip, and if the tool's missing, all you got to do is scan the NFC chip, and it'll tell you who's got the tool, when it was last checked out. Another thing that we added just this past weekend is a reminder system. So if a technician has had a tool for X amount of days, it'll send them an email to say, "Hey, you got this tool checked out. You probably don't need a wheel bearing tool for a week." Just a friendly reminder to go ahead and bring the tool back.
No, I
So
like that. Do you,
yeah,
on any of your more expensive tools, do you do any GPS or geo tagging of that physical tool just in case it walks off? Have you ever been into that?
yes, all of our um, uh, BCIs, which are the dongles that you have to plug into the vehicle, those are about $3,000 a piece. And
I,
so yes, so I air tag each one of them. As well as our battery jump box because it likes to walk all kinds of different places around the dealership, sales,
yes, sir.
finance, your good buddy's car. So I tag that as well as our scan tools for the aftermarket vehicles. Of course, we had to buy an aftermarket scan tool, and I've got that one air tagged as well.
Do you buy them in bulk? Which tags do you specifically use? Do you have a favorite?
Uh, we just use the Apple AirTags as
Okay.
far as on all the tools. The NFC chips themselves, originally when the AI had suggested that, um, I thought, wow, I want this to keep this simple and inexpensive. I don't want to be, spending a lot of money. I mean, it's important, but actually, the NFC chips that we're using in the cards, I actually the original card that I come up with, I don't know, was
Oh, I
that.
can see it. No, it looks
Yeah.
good.
So but then we also, again, experimenting with the NFC chips. It's just a little sticker that goes on the inside, and it printed out actually really well. And the NFC chip still works. There was some question as to whether or not the temperature of the filament may damage the NFC chip, but it turned out okay. So, yeah, but those are available on Amazon or anywhere else. You can get a whole roll of like 100 for $25.
Oh,
So,
that's cool.
yeah,
The reason I asked about the tags, the only thing I personally have tagged in my life is my bike. I have an e-bike that I got this summer. My wife and I both got e-bikes. And what's interesting is every time I leave it, and it's almost like a pet. My phone
Uh,
goes and says you're leaving your e-bike behind. So then I get a little anxiety when I haven't exercised in a while, and I'm like, oh gosh, I had a cheeseburger last night, and now my bike is mad at me for leaving. And I
that's
already
right.
know it's mad at me. I know it's just alerting me, like you're farther away from your stuff. But like when you leave work, does it blow up, or do you have your notification some way where it doesn't bother you when you actually do get to leave your job?
So we use Apple tablets for service drive check-in, and as opposed
Yes.
to putting that on my phone, I put it on my Apple tablet at work. So I put my Apple tablet in my dock on my desk, and then that way the Apple tablet stays at work, and I don't get the 20 notifications for the 18 VCIs that we have and the jump box, and
No, that's really good. How
yeah.
are you guys doing with your tablets? Are you documenting walkarounds? Have you seen any effect on light damage? Has it helped you in any way?
Yeah, technology wise, we do have the Hunter drive through. It takes pictures of the vehicles all the way down as they come in. We've never really had a whole lot of issues with damage, all in all. I mean, there's always the, onesie, twosie that you have to take care of.
How
Um,
sensitive is the Hunter machine with the weather that we get here? And the listeners probably don't know this because I didn't announce it. This is our first show. I actually live north of where Chuck works. I live in Castle Pines. It gets so, it gets so muddy and, when the snow happens, does it accurately document, small dings and scratches? How sensitive is it? How good is that machine?
so it's mainly just photo. I
Okay.
know that they have some real expensive ones that you can roll through that actually scan the metal and look for imperfections and dings using a grid system where it um, projects the grid system and looks for those lines to wave. Those systems are hugely expensive. I don't know, especially as a Hyundai dealership, maybe expensive line. It may the cost of the machine may outsource it, so eventually. But man, those things. So maybe a Porsche dealership or Lamborghini, as they're
Yeah.
coming in, you know.
That's
But
true.
yeah,
You mentioned earlier spreadsheets and some of those things that happen automatically. I've always looked up to you as someone who is really good with the numbers at your facility, very good with getting a giant spreadsheet, taking reports, putting it into reports. How is is AI helping you with any of that now? Or are you so good you help AI? Talk to me about how your spreadsheets, what are you working on in that aspect?
gotcha. So this year we've been working with a gentleman also helping out with building spreadsheets. Based off of a 6 month rolling of the dealership. So the nice part about that is I'm dealing off a 6 month rolling, and it tracks each one of my employees individually for what they're producing. So technicians' hours. It also tracks all of our work mix, whether it's customer pay warranty, internal, and it also tracks competitive maintenance and repair. So I can get a snapshot of each technician and each service advisor to see what type of work they're doing and what type of work that they're writing. You have a lot of technicians a lot of times that say, all I'm doing is warranty work, and upset about that. Well, nice part is with the spreadsheets that I have, I can go directly in and I can physically see over the last 6 months how much of the technician's work mix has been warranty, how much of it's customer pay, and how much of it's internal. So he and I can actually have a meaningful conversation as opposed to just a biased conversation on that. But yeah,
Yeah, because you got the data to show, oh, this is a percentage. Has it shown you what is ideal in the split of that sort of work?
I mean, it shows me where I'm at. Most of that is all industry standard.
Okay.
We're working to go to 40% CP, and then probably looking at 30% warranty, with the remainder being internal, as far as a good work mix. But yeah, I mean, the spreadsheets itself, it's probably 23 or 24 tabs minimum at the bottom.
Wow.
Yeah, and of course each sheet feeds off another sheet, so there's lots and lots and lots of complicated formulas in there, and then that's of course what I've been using AI for, especially when you have an error in a formula, and those who do Excel know how easy it is to mess up a formula, especially one that you've researched like 6 months ago and it worked, and now you got to go back and fix it. But yeah, no, the AI looking for individual formulas and also helping build off those formulas has also been invaluable on the AI side too.
And are you still, do you do most of your work on Excel or are you a Google Sheet guy? Is it easier to share? Have you found anything there? Reason I ask, I had a giant project, 29 different steps. 27 of them, it seemed like I could do, but the sheet kept getting so large that it was really difficult. I would send it to someone to help me. It crashed his system. So are you still on Excel? And if you are, how do you get giant documents, for someone obviously like me who's again, I try, I'm not, I ask questions and I still Google things. How do you make those big spreadsheets shareable?
So for a long time, we've got a fantastic IT department here at Phil Long. And for a long time, we've been on the cusp of things. Way back in the 90s, we were using a shared drive to put information on so that we wouldn't have to go to each individual's computer and update every single file that we had on there. I had built a service file for my technicians, so all of the manufacturer forms that they needed to fill out, core return forms, diagnostic worksheets, and then of course processes that we have. We would keep those all in the shared file, so everybody had access to it in one place. That of course has gone, much larger as the years have gone by, and for the most part, we use a lot of Teams here at Phil Long. And we do a lot of sharing that way. Everything's shared on OneDrives, and so it's made it pretty easy for anything that I want to share for somebody just to give them specific access to that one file, as opposed to my whole OneDrive. And it's worked well. It has.
I like it. So I'll ask you a couple more questions, and I know you got to go back to work. And again, I appreciate Chuck for being the first podcaster that we have. All right. What do you see on the horizon technology wise that excites you? And then is there anything on the technology side that worries you or should at least worry someone like me?
So another AI program that we put into place, like I say, coming out of construction, and we scared a lot of our customers away, having them come into a war zone while we were going through construction. So we had to work things to bring things back and to make them feel happy again coming to see us. So as soon as construction ended, we dove into the AI side. We've got AI for our phones. We've got another AI program for our reminders and our recapture. One of the other ones that I'm real excited about was we do things a little bit different. I don't load my shop as for my advisors. So for advisors, I don't say that each one of them can do 18 appointments a piece and just really nilly just bring in 18 appointments per advisor. We actually schedule per technician, and it's called Shop Loader, and it actually for my online scheduling, it has an AI that schedules direct to technician based off of skill on what the customers are typing into the system to ask. So
Nice. Is
yeah,
it is it code word or keyword based?
yes, and it'll so once you set it up with your technician skills, if someone's looking for a particular thing as they type in there's always the easy stuff that you really don't need the app, or oil changes, tire rotating, all the basics. But if they're coming and they say I got a check engine light on, or I have a ABS light on, or sometimes they don't know what kind of light it is, it may ask a couple questions, and then it aims it towards the technician who's best suited for that particular area of repair on the vehicle. It's actually really cool.
Anything I should be worried about? I always get worried about being replaced by some kiosk or key reader or robot or a cyborg. Is there anything out there that I need to be worried about, Chuck?
I don't I don't think a technician will ever be replaced by any type of AI or robot. I don't see that coming. So in the automotive industry, I think we're really good. Not to say, however, that myself and or my service advisors that aren't actually physically touching the vehicle may not be in dire straits.
There's no way
It,
a robot's gonna replace you, Chuck. No chance, babe.
hey, I mean, and those who follow AI and looking at robots, there's already committees that are looking at what are we going to do with with the economy when we have all these jobs missing, if all of it once 50% of all the jobs that are out there can be replaced by a robot, how are we going to have a functioning economy? And they're
I'm
already
pretty
looking at that
sure
now.
those things were said during the 50s, during the Industrial Revolution, and somebody back in 1200 said the same thing. Where's everyone gonna work when
Right.
we have this thing called a grocery store? So yeah, I'm not too worried about it. I think evolution is a good thing. So
Yeah.
I'll be happy. I'll just be asking folks like you to explain it to me
Yeah.
because sometimes it does get a little persnickety. So, before you go, and one thing that I want to try to do with our podcast and our guests, before I give you a chance to do some shameless plugs and talk about your facility before you leave, one of the things that I do during my training classes is I share with people that I can get anybody better at anything as a trainer if they do this one exercise. And I go through an exercise and I ask my attendees, what one word best describes what makes you valuable? And I always share with them, you can give me the answer in the context of your position of what makes you a valuable service manager, or if I'm speaking to an advisor. But that's not what I want to know. What I want to know is what makes you a good father, a good son, a good dude to take to the baseball game with, or get in a fight at the bowling alley. Chuck, if you had to bet your life on one attribute that you hold true, what would it be?
Hmm. And again, that word's going to change depending on what facet you're in. Like I say, the word that your family is going to describe you as is going to, or you were described for your family is going to be different than the one that I used to work. So I mean, as far as work wise, I would probably say innovative.
I like it. Innovation's good. How do you other your technology stuff? I'm sure you do it. Is there any other way that you share with your customers your best strength?
Uh, Again, I'm always looking for ways to make things easier, and and do it in ways that are more proficient. We with our customer base, like I say, if when we were under construction, I had to do multiple videos when our entrance changed. So as we
That's interesting. And it seemed like you guys were under construction a long time. I'm sure it seemed way longer for you than it did me, but it was
yes,
always tough
sir.
for Park. I would want to go into my little spot with my Bronco, and sometimes it was blocked off. I was like, come on, man, there's nowhere to park. But you guys are out of it now. You got a great facility. Talk to people. Where are you? Where can they find you and your great team? And why is coming to Phil Long Hyundai a great job or a great idea?
Gotcha. Online, we're at HyundaiColoradoSprings.com. Is the website. We're located at 170 West Motor Way here in Colorado Springs. Zip code is 80915. It's a beautiful new dealership. Everything's brand new. We got, again, cutting edge technologies, all new equipment. Again, some of the things that even as far as helping customers with the tread depth reader and the alignment reader as they come in. I mean, it's a nice courtesy, and I don't have to worry about advisor A getting a little hungry and trying to sell someone some tires and maybe they do or don't need it. It's right there on the screen, right? It's it's all green, red, and yellow.
Green,
So
yellow, red. We'll be talking about that in some training sessions coming up. Well, Doug, man, I appreciate you so much for coming on and being our first guest here at the MP Garage. I hope you had as much fun as I did listening to you. I know our listeners are going to gain some knowledge from you, and that's what this is all about. Anything else before we go?
uh, nothing specific I can think of, Mitch. Thank you very much. I really appreciate you having me on board. It's been fun. And like I said, I'm looking forward to to what's next in technologies. Hyundai's always on the cutting edge, and say we're taking a look at everything that comes out to make all of our lives better. To include my employees, my technicians, parts department, and of course all of our guests. And I'm glad to have you guys on board with us as mock products, and looking forward to just getting better all the
Well,
time.
we certainly appreciate you and mahalo, and we got great gratitude for you guys at Phil Long, so I appreciate it. Well, everybody, Chuck Todd, Service Manager, Phil Long Hyundai Motor City, you guys have a great day. Peace.